Good afternoon. In today's video, I wanted to do kind of more of a how-to or instructional video on Scion grafting. In this video, we're going to be taking the foliage from an Itoigawa juniper and adding it or grafting it to a one seed juniper. And so in this process, you're able to replace or add to the foliage of one tree. So in this video, we're going to be taking the Itoigawa foliage and replacing the One Seed Juniper foliage. So I hope you enjoy today's content, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and let's get into it.
The tools that we'll be using is a pair of scissors, an X-Acto knife, heavy grafting tape, light grafting tape, and parafilm.
Probably this one right here. And we do need enough room here where we can make our cuts. Okay, so I'm going to take off any of the branching that we don't need, like so. And I'll clean that up just a little bit more. It doesn't matter whether you have buds or not, but okay, and then I will deal with this end later on. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to wrap it. So I'm guessing about 2.5 to 3 inches here, or that's 2, 4, 5 to 6 inches. I'll just do a little extra this time. So this stuff is very thick, and you do want to, once you peel it, you do want to stretch it out and make sure there's definitely air that's able to escape, or for the Scion to breathe a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. But you're basically creating a little greenhouse for the graft itself. And it'll keep it moist and isolated from the environment. And these should definitely take within a couple of months, well before fall. Typically, I will leave them on through the winter and bring the tree inside if it's going to freeze. If you have a smoother table, which I don't, you can always do that and stretch it out a little more consistently. All right. So now I'm going to come down just below the green, where the greenery starts, and I'm going to roll it. And you can squinch it up a little bit, but I would be careful. I wouldn't want to break it off, so try not to put too much pressure on it, and make sure it's tight enough that there's no air coming in or out. We're going to go around the full length like this, and then we'll have a little extra at the end, and we will continue to twist it off like that. Okay, so as this grows, it actually will grow through the paraffin and open it up itself, which is another way that you can tell that it's doing well and the graft is taking. All right, now attention to the tip, but first I'm going to make a cut in a branch, so we'll just pick one up here just to be the donor. So let's start with this one up here, and we're going to attach it. Let me get my glasses on. So typically I would start where the harder points are, so that you're not going to be working your way up and knocking them off. I mean, you want to work your way up. So this looks like a good straight branch area to go. So I'm going to go in, and I do not use a grafting knife because these X-Acto knife is much sharper and much easier controlled. And you're going to go below the cambium into the xylem. And so there is your receiving site. You can see the cambium, and then which is going to be dark colored on this species, not green so much. So here's your flap, and you'll insert it in there. Okay. And so we're going to come back to our donor just to get a little bit closer look at it. And we're going to make a short and a high cut. So the longer cut will go facing the branch, and the shorter cut will go towards the flap because of the difference in the length once you pull it up, and you want them to approximate. Okay, so our first cut is going down at an angle like this. Leave cambium on both sides, and then your longer cut is on top, and you take it to a point like this. Okay, so now we're going to get some grafting tape, heavy tape. I'm going to go ahead and cut that off in preparation. I'm just going to set that over here. Alright, so long side down, goes under the branch, and then you see how that fits perfectly in there, and it will press down like that, and pretty good fit. So you're going to approximate cambium. Now there is another technique that Bjorn Bjornholm mentioned to me. He likes, just recently he started going sideways, claiming that you hit more cambium, but in my way of thinking, if you make the cut correct, you've got the most exposure to the cambium from the donor to the receiving branch is straight on. So I don't do sideways at all. So we'll take this, make sure it's in position, start down at the bottom, seal it, and then we're going to wind it tightly. Around the graft, and I'm actually going to cut this little extra off, and I am going to take, I forgot to mention this earlier, I am going to take some of the lighter, more flexible graft tape, and I'm going to seal the area right here to make sure that there's no opening and everything is sealed tight so nothing can desiccate or dry out. I forgot to mention that earlier. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to wrap up underneath, around a couple of times, and then come underneath here. Make sure that's totally sealed and no moisture can escape and no air exposure. And I'm going to do it one more time. Like that. I'm actually going to go the other direction this time. You don't have to, but I like to. Get a little extra here, and then we'll go around, and it sticks, so we're done. That's our first graft, first Scion.